Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Seventh Inning Stretch. I'm Josh Edwards, and your host this evening will be Daren from the Fat Boy Fadeaway, and we have a very special guest this evening, Ryan. Ryan, say your last name for me again.
It is Waelterman.
Waelterman. Got that right?
You got it right.
All right, good. Okay. So, a little status update. The little one's doing well, but she's keeping me up. So Daren's going to have full control of the show tonight. So Daren, take it away, brother.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks for that introduction there, Josh. Welcome to the Seventh Inning Stretch here over at Variety Sports Network. Thanks for anybody tuning in this evening. 8 o'clock Pacific time out here, prime time out here, ready to talk some baseball. And like Josh said, we're going to wake him up here from baby duty a little bit. We're gonna probably, maybe he'll comment on the Cardinals. That will wake him up that anger there a little bit. But first, we got our guest here, Ryan from NL Whip Around podcast. Ryan, got the Cubs hat on there. Glad you could join us this evening. Ready to talk some baseball. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thank you guys for having me. I am definitely excited to see how this podcast goes, and I'm just always ecstatic to talk baseball, even if it's not the Cubs. But I'm very excited to see what happens.
Well, we will definitely get into the Cubs here, my friend. That is something we will definitely not leave out. We'll definitely get into your Cubs here. And we always touch on a little bit of everything on this sport. We'll get into our question of the week. We'll do my 3-out segment. But first, let's start with our opening pitch here. How do we not start with a perfect game thrown against my Oakland Athletics yesterday, even if it was a AAA team? I mean, the fact that it was Herman, he got lit up the last two games. He had the sticky stuff suspension not that long ago. I mean, gentlemen, when you throw 20, there's only 24 of these, right? In the history of baseball. To me, it's one of those stats. It's always one of my favorite ones because it just never happens. And sometimes it's like the most random guys, like, was it the guy Phil Herbert from the White Sox a few years ago? So just stuff like that. What do you think, Ryan, of Herman and just the perfect game there to start out the week there?
Yeah, it's definitely special. I don't know about you two, but the Yankees is by far one of my most hated franchises. So, although it's like cool for them to see, I'm a little upset that they got another like great thing happen to them. I understand that they were facing the A's, and there's been I was on Twitter today, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's the Oakland A's," but it still takes a lot. And I think he did it in under 100 pitches as well. So I think that's still pretty impressive. And, I got my guy Anthony Rizzo on that team too, and he's been a part of a couple of no-hitters. He had Alec Mills out there, and, he's just been pretty lucky. So that ball club is they're on a different horizon than any other team. And I know Josh is probably ecstatic that they're coming into Busch Stadium this weekend to play as Cardinals.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's going to be a blast.
Phil Humber was the name I had from the White Sox over there. The Yankees have thrown 4 perfect games since '99, which is kind of crazy in itself. It was weird. We went such a long time without it. We had Matt Cain, Humber, and Hernandez all thrown in 2012. Then you had Halladay, Braden, Burley, a little bit of a run there in 2009, 2010. But we've gone a while without it. The A's team delivers. They show up. They give you a great chance at it. Herman can be nasty. It's just weird to me. It's one of those funny things to me in baseball. It's one of these like cool little stats. That like I don't know. You saw, like I said, 24 in the history of the game that's been around since like 1880. Are you kidding me? So to me, it's something to celebrate a little bit here for it, even if it is Herman there at the Yankees. I want to get into the NL All-Star starters a little bit here. Any problems with anything? We have the Cubs and Dodgers dominating it. Of course, they get 6 guys in the starting lineup. What do you think there, Ryan, from the NL side of things?
The NL side of things looks good. Obviously the one bark I would have is that Arenado made it, but he's still playing as an all-star should, even though his team is not that great. He's been playing really good. He's been making a lot of great plays. Sean Murphy is probably the best catcher in baseball in the National League side of things. And then obviously Luis Reyes, he's on pace to have Teddy Ballgame type of batting average. He is just, I don't know where he came from, but he came out of left field and he is just destroying it for the Marlins this year.
Josh, your thoughts on the NL All-Star? Maybe Herman as well there?
I mean, that's a pretty good roundup, man. I don't know if I could have said it any better, to be honest. The lineup looks good. We should have a good game this year. We don't always get a good game. We've been fortunate enough to have some really good ones. Yeah, I mean, it should be low scoring. I mean, you're using top end starters and top end relievers, then they're going an inning.
Funny.
Maybe two.
No, that's for sure. What do you think of Arenado gets in again on the Cardinals? I thought maybe the Braves would get 8 if we get another one in there with Riley, but he ends up holding him off there. Arenado, you feel like he deserved it there from a Cardinals standpoint?
I mean, I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah.
He had a really rough start of the year. He had a few errors on plays he would normally make. And something seemed off at the start of the season to me. The bat started off all right, and then it died.
Yep, died.
The first series was good, and then he was toast for 38 days. So, I mean, I think the fact that his numbers are as good as they are with what he's been through this season, I would say he's probably earned because of his reputation and the history. We know what Nolan Arenado is.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it. I'll be honest with you. I was kind of shocked. I figured he'd make the All-Star game. I didn't think he'd get the starter vote.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm happy that we got somebody there. I think Goldschmidt still should have been a candidate. I mean, he's 7th in OPS plus or one of the statistics I saw tonight out of the whole MLB. I think
Freeman and Olsen, you think, though?
See, that's the competition. They're stiff.
It's
I think he gets an honorable mention. Considering he was the MVP last year, I figured he'd at least be up there.
Yeah.
But nobody else in the Cardinals is even close to sniffing the cleats of the other players right now. Except for maybe Gorman for a DH.
Yeah. Ryan, any last thoughts on the NL?
Yeah, I wanted to just touch up on Corbin Carroll being a rookie there in his first All-Star game and getting the start. And obviously, just kind of like Miami, Arizona has came out of left field this year too. And those two teams right there, I know we're going to talk about it here later in the show, but they're very surprising already early on. And the Diamondbacks are I'm surprised that he's the only guy that they have starting-wise because the Diamondbacks are so good, but it's just so cool to see a rookie just start an All-Star game for his first All-Star game.
Yeah, I mean, you would think Marte, he'd maybe be the guy else, but then you just have Arias batting up with 400, so it's like hard to get. He's the one guy that jumps out to me though. That probably because you're right, their lineup is we can get into a little later too, but their lineup is a little bit, just kind of like solid players. But you would think of Carroll there. He starts out, makes a start as a rookie, like you said, not something you see every day. As we get over to the AL here, Ryan. We get 4 from the Texas Rangers out of the franchise. Bruce Bochy brings that magic with him. They get Simeon. They get Seager there at shortstop. They get Jung, the rookie third baseman. Speaking of a rookie starting as well. And then they get the catcher as well. What do you think about the Rangers outdoing the Rays and getting the 4 starters there?
This definitely brings back shades of 2016 when there was the whole entire Cubs infield in the All-Star game, and I thought that was insane. But yeah, to see the Rangers out there, I mean, Jonah Heim is him. He's one of the best young catchers in the game. And you mentioned it already with Josh Jung, but just having 2 rookies, one on AL and one on the NL to start, I think that's really cool to see. And this Rangers team, I do think they are worthy of having all of them start. Josh Jung, he's a young player. And, I'm used to seeing maybe Rafael Devers there or something, but Boston just has not had a good start to the season at all. And I think Jung is definitely awarded of that. And then, I mean, Marcus Semien, he's been one of the best second basemen in the game. Yandy Diaz has been great. And obviously, I really wanted to see your man, Brent Rooker, make the DH spot. But, of course, Shohei Ohtani is probably one of the best players in MLB. So it's going to be tough to beat out.
Did you say one of the best?
That massive slump where he was using a ping pong paddle for a little bit did help. He went
like Josh, I said he said he's one of the best. I think Mike Trout's better than him.
No, I think that's a good call. Any A's positivity, I would accept it right there. Anytime here, right there. Anytime with it. It's funny for me to see, as an A's fan, though, to see Simeon, right?
Yeah.
Right? Olsen, right there with the right there. Then you have Chapman was right there at the beginning. All guys are going to make the All-Star team probably right there with them. So it is what it is. Murphy's starting with them. Josh, anything with you at the AL? Diaz gets to start there with the Rays. Rosarena at center field, and of course Trout and Judge make it to round out the starters here. And Ohtani will probably, like I have, as the DH as well, who leads the league in home runs as well.
Yeah, I think the AL wins this game just because I think it's a better roster. But this is baseball.
That's a bold call. I like that.
I'm an NL guy, so I mean, I'm looking at it in the most unbiased fashion as I can.
I gotcha. I hear you.
I just think that AL lineup's got a little
It's
bit
pretty
more
stacked.
power and a little more pop. And even if you're using Shohei Ohtani. So I haven't
Judge
watched
probably
enough
won't
of the AL
start though,
games.
huh? Now that I think about it. Somebody
Maybe
will probably
not.
come on over Judge, huh?
I don't
He's
know.
hurt? Yeah.
Is he hurt?
Yeah, he's got that toe injury. We'll see if
I
he's
forgot.
back
Yeah.
for it.
I thought he
I
was
think
back
he'll
already.
be back for the All-Star game though. I mean,
Think so?
I like to imagine.
Yeah, I hope
I'll
so,
tell you
too.
right now, if he's not back for this weekend series with the Cardinals,
not.
Busch
He's
Stadium.
He won't be.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
okay.
not.
I have not checked on him in a while, but I thought he was over it.
He's
Josh,
killing
you
my
got Harrison
fantasy team
Bader.
right now. He's
You got
killing
Harrison Bader to worry about.
You know what? I think he's going to come out and he is just going to put on a show. And the girls are going to eat it up.
Yeah.
The women are going to eat it up.
I gotta say the NL lineup to me is a little bit better if I go starters though, Josh. To me, I don't know. I hear you on it, but I think the NL can be just as good. Okay, because I know Judge isn't going to be there, so or in my mind that's what I'm thinking. But even if he is there, I got some question marks along the way there. So I think the NL I might take in a duel there with it. Ryan, would you have you had to say yes or no? Which would you have to pick here? Come on, you got to take one.
I'm just like Josh, I'm a big NL fan, and I know that National League hasn't really done well in the All-Star games as of late, but I think I'm going to pick the National League. I really do. I think that they're going to have just a little bit more power. I understand that the American League is going to have great pitching as well, and, they have great hitting too, but I think it's going to come down to the very end of the game, and I think the National League is going to have better reserves than the American League.
You got 6 people here in the room here. Feel free to leave a comment chat in here if you got any thoughts here on the show here. Ryan, like we said, joining the pod or joining the show 7th inning stretch today on Variety Sports Network. Appreciate his time here along with Josh Edwards over here on baby duty, surviving over there on the couch. What do you guys think? My hit and run segment here. Confidence, Ryan, in the Chicago Cubs to win the NL Central. They're right now they sit at 37-42, 4.5 back. Maybe I'm off a little bit there. They just won't play tonight. The Cubs are currently on a 3-game losing streak. Now it's 4. What do you think of your Cubs and your confidence meter in them?
Yeah, so we are now 5 games back. But if you would have asked me before the London series what my confidence was, I would have told you that I think there's a decent chance. And honestly, I still think there is a decent chance just because the NL Central is really bad. Like, all the teams are just so bad this year. I don't know why that is. But besides the Reds, I don't really see a team running away right now. So I think a lot of teams are still in it. But, I mean, my confidence in them right now, especially just getting swept by not the best Phillies ball club, that's definitely hurt me. They think they need to go out and make some moves at the trade deadline. Of course, the chairman, the head man, said that they don't know if they're going to buy or sell yet, which I think is blasphemous because I think they should buy. But knowing the Cubs, they'll probably sell just because that's what they're used to. And that's what I've been used to the last 3 years is a dumpster fire sale at the trade deadline. So I'm hoping this year's a little different. But yeah, I mean, confidence-wise, pitching has been really good. Bullpen has been decent. It's really just been the bats as of late. I mean, they won 11 in the last 13 before the London series. They won 11 games, and that was because the whole entire lineup was contributing. But now Ian Happ's bat got colder than the Atlantic Ocean, and Shohei Ohtani, Seiya Suzuki can't seem to find it out there either. And I know that he missed basically all of spring training due to an injury, but I mean, they got guys like Nick Madrigal playing third base, and he's a great player, but that bat is just not – there's no pop in that bat at all. And then, they just make costly errors. I mean, tonight I was watching the game, and they were down by 2, and there was a runner on third with 2 outs, and Morel bunted, and Madrigal forgot that there was 2 outs, and he was thrown out. And I'm like, you can't forget that. And it's just the little things. I mean, sometimes I think David Ross just goes to the bullpen and pulls the wrong guy, and the confidence is just it's not high, it's not low, it's kind of in the middle right now. I think Bellinger's really helped out. Mike Tuchman has been just a great addition to this team. I mean, they called him up, and he's not going to lose his spot in the starting lineup because he's been awesome. And it's funny that I brought his name up because I forgot that he even existed in the MLB. The last time I heard of him, he was playing for the Giants, and I think he had a skid with the Yankees as well. So, it's just the confidence is it's iffy, but I know that the farm system is also really good, and I don't want to lose a lot of guys at the trade deadline due to farm system.
Ryan, I'm curious to get your thought. I thought Bellinger's injury kind of killed some momentum for you guys. I don't know, like a low key one. I'm not saying I just noticed he was playing well. Like now, and then he goes down, and then he kind of resorted back to his old play a little bit.
Do you know what I think? Which is gonna sound really, really sketchy, but I think ever since Trey Mancini's 2 errors in the London series, the Cubs have not been themselves. They've lost 3 straight, like you have up there. And I mean, that's a game that the Cubs are winning 4-0, and after that inning, it's 4-3 because Mancini can't field a baseball. And I mean, I call him old ass Mancini because he's so old. I don't know why the Cubs would take a chance on that man. I mean, they took a chance on Eric Hosmer, and they already DFA'd him. So it's like, I don't know what Tom Ricketts is thinking sometimes, but I definitely think that you make a very valid point there. I mean, Bellinger is definitely going off before his injury, and then I think that injury lasted a little longer than we would have liked to hope, but now he's back and he's starting to hit the ball well again, and they just need to find that vibe again, but it's not going to be there if they have guys like Nick Madrigal and Dansby Swanson going 0 for 4 every day. I mean, that just can't happen. A guy like Dansby Swanson should at least get a hit a game, I think.
Josh?
This is – okay. Give me a minute here. First of all, I called it about Dansby Swanson. I think his next season will be better than this one. But I said you guys overpaid him when you did the contract.
Yeah.
Just want to let you know. I'm curious if you agree with me or disagree with me on that.
I think we overpaid him. I mean, I think John Lester would have been the second highest paid player for the Cubs. Yeah, I don't think he was worth 177.
Okay, cool. So hey, somebody from Chicago agrees with me on something. That's a first. But my take on the Cubs, I think the NL Central is a 4-horse race right now. And I'm leaving the Cardinals out. I don't think there's a way they can't do it. Pitching's not there. The team just can't run efficiently. I think any of the other 4 teams can win the division right now. Straight up, no BS. I don't think Cincinnati's going to stay at the pace that they're staying on right now. I think I said the Cubs were going to be sneaky and could make the playoffs this year because I said they could disrupt Milwaukee and the Cardinals because of the way their pitching was set up. I think that's pretty accurate at this point, even though we hit the pitching okay on the second game in London. But if Stroman wouldn't have gotten hurt, the Cubs would have probably won that game. I'll say it. But I think the Cubs are either going to be, if they are sellers at the deadline, I don't think it's going to be the dumpster fire you are used to. I think it's going to be addition by subtraction. You mentioned you don't know why they picked up Mancini and why they picked up Hosmer and they already DFA'd him. I think it's the same reason they picked up Bellinger. If this works out and this guy's playing well, we can flip him at the deadline because we're not expected to win this season. Well, now they're playing better than we all thought they were going to be, or at least we did here on the network, the majority of us. And now when it comes to deadline time, they can shed Bellinger if they can get something they want for him. If Hosmer wasn't DFA'd and if Mancini was playing better, they could use Mancini like that too because if I recall correctly, those are both 1-year contracts.
Yeah, I believe they were.
So they're trade bait. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. That's what I think the Cubs did, and I think they were very smart in how they picked up those older retread players, but they picked them up at a decent price and on short-term deals where they can move them if need be. So I think it was really smart by Chicago. I think they can win the division. I don't think they make a deep run in the playoffs. I don't think they have that, but I think the Cubs are a serious threat to Cincinnati and Milwaukee, and Pittsburgh's like a crazy wild card.
Ryan, kind of on that note with the Cubs still, let's keep it. What do you think a trade maybe with them or another team you'd like to see happen here?
Oh man, that's a good question because I want them to buy, and if they were to do a trade, I really like Scott Barlow over there in Kansas City, but now I hear that they're trying to package Scott Barlow and the Aroldis Chapman, and the Cubs just don't have that type of money. And as cool as it would be to get Chapman back like he helped us win in 2016, that's just not going to happen, I don't think. But, you know, it's funny. I was looking on Twitter, and one of the trades I saw was Marcus Stroman going to the Reds for the Strand kid, Christian Javier Strand or whatever his name is, Christian Edward Strand or whatever his name is. And I was just thinking, like, one, I don't think the Reds would ever do that because they're definitely trying to hold on to Strand. And two, I'm just hoping to God that the Cubs re-sign that man, because the Cubs have already went out and said publicly we're not talking to him right now. And you can see, I mean, if you follow Marcus Stroman on Twitter, he's like a kid in a candy shop. He kind of just tweets whatever he wants. But I really want them to extend him. So I would say a good trade right now would just be getting, obviously, Cody Hewer, I think that's how you say his last name, and Brandon Hughes, two of the Cubs' top bullpen pieces are out for the season again. So I think they need to definitely pick up some bullpen arms and maybe a starter. I would be okay with flipping Smiley at the deadline.
So
I could see that.
My question to you, though, for just on the Cubs, and I'll get to one I have too, though, in the same division, is they need offense, right? Or am I wrong in that regard? I agree with Chapman. No, everybody can use the more bullpen. Or do you just think do you trust somebody to get hot in that offense? Because it seems to me like maybe they could make a trade for somebody on the offensive end. I don't know. I don't know if there's even a big name out there they can get, but it does seem like, looking at their stats, even though they're plus 25 in run differential, if you look at the player stats, they don't jump out at you.
Yeah, no, I definitely forgot to mention Pancake Hands Nick Madrigal, and I think they could definitely get Jeimer Candelario back in the Cubs. I don't think he ever played for the Cubs, but he was in the AAA at one time, and then they traded him away. But I think right now is the prime time to trade for him. I know that there's been a lot of going on out there with the Cubs world about Jeimer Candelario. He's the guy that they need to target, and that would be awesome. You'd have to give up – I think you have to give up a decent amount. I know he plays for the Nationals, but Jeimer's one of the best players on the Nationals right now. And if he's going to come to the Cubs, it's going to cost him a pretty penny. I don't want to give up Cade Horn or Ben Brown. Those are two stud pitchers that the Cubs need to have. But, maybe they can give up other guys. Brennan Davis is a guy that, honestly, I'm okay with letting go. I know he's supposed to be the future, but he's been injury prone for the last 2 years, and he just can't catch a break. So if they could do something with flipping him for a third baseman or just maybe a bench bat, I think that would be really good.
I kind of like in your division there. I like maybe McCutchen getting traded, possibly. The Pirates strike me as a team that doesn't go for it yet either. And if they fall out of it, I wouldn't mind maybe him going to the Rangers or a team like that. That's kind of a trade I wouldn't mind seeing. To me, it would be very interesting what the Mets end up doing, because they're just continuing to play bad here. So that will be something we'll look at if they unload on any of their big guys. But McCutchen's the name that kind of jumps out to me a little bit there. Maybe Bell from the Guardians at first base. Maybe he goes to the Cardinal. I don't know. Maybe a team like that. Maybe your Cubs. I'm thinking that need another bat. So those are those are some moves I was thinking. Josh, you got a trade or a team or something like that you'd like to see or kind of stand out to you? Maybe even your Cardinals there.
Oh, I got plenty of trades for the Cardinals.
All right, maybe another team, and then your Cardinals give you one.
I would like to see Miggy get out of Detroit and get to go play with a playoff contending team. I know, but you asked me what I want to see. I'd like to see him get another run, and to see the playoffs again.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. Like Texas, see him go over there to Arizona.
The Tigers are right there. The division's so bad. The Tigers are right there.
I mean, send him somewhere where he can go get to the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
But no, I got trades galore for the Cardinals. Ship Jack Flaherty out, ship out Gallegos, ship out Cabrera.
The whole team.
Flaherty
not the whole team. No, they're saying he should be back Saturday.
All right.
Ship out Montgomery, even though I think we should re-sign him.
Yeah, you like him.
But he's a Scott Boras candidate, so he's not going to sign a contract during the season, and Boras isn't going to let him just resign. He's going to let him play the open market. So I would trade Montgomery strictly for strategy. I would trade either Donovan or Edman, and I really wouldn't want to because I want to keep Gorman and Wins coming up. But, if Edman was willing to play in the outfield full time, that would help us out because he's been our best center fielder this year, and he's like our emergency center fielder. So, the Cardinals just need to reload, go get assets, and any move that you make, if you make a big move, it's not to help you this year. It's to start fresh next year. I don't know, man. I've never seen the Cardinals be this bad, Actually, it's the worst season they've had in 100 years. So my dad's never seen them this bad. My grandparents never seen this bad.
Man, they could really
rough.
reload though, Josh. Like, because they have the players now, if they wanted to, right? Like, they could reload right there.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
just doesn't seem like the Cardinals' way.
It's not. It's really not. I mean, it's development, and we got a lot of young
Right,
studs in the farm system.
Yeah,
But don't make fun of the Cardinal way, man. That's not.
it is. That's the Cardinals' way. You guys
I don't
do
make
well.
fun of your A's.
Well, you can definitely make. We're gonna trade anybody. You want anybody on their team? I probably not.
I mean,
Maybe
I wanted
Central.
Sean Murphy last year.
Yeah, you did. You did want him the whole year. I'll give you that. You did.
I wanted him all year long, but no, it's weird. I get to know what it's like to be a Cubs fan right now. So, and I don't like it. So, I've always respected real Cubs fans who rode out the drought, or the kids I grew up with who were Cubs fans, who stayed Cubs fans and flipped to the Yankees or something. I always give them credit. But to do this year in and year out and be loyal, whew, you guys are a whole nother breed. Congratulations to you. But
Logan wants to chime in here, Josh, and says, I love when my boy, he's referring to you, listens to me and says I'm right. So there you go.
I didn't say you were right about a damn thing, Logan. You still think Gorman's the best player in the MLB?
A fun trade rumor, Josh, I heard was Goldschmidt to the Giants. I thought that was kind of a fun fake trade. I read out there. That was kind of one that kind of jumped out to me a little bit.
That make no sense.
See what Boston does.
They got nothing to offer.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Boston to me is an intriguing team because they sit in last place, but their record's pretty decent. So they have the White Sox also, Ryan, are also a team to me that kind of, they just got they got a lot of solid players. It just their team doesn't seem to mesh. So I don't, will they unload at some point too? So that's kind of a couple teams. We got Cubs will not win Central. We got Kyle. You got your
either will the Cardinals. I appreciate
you,
you, Kyle, but either will the Cardinals, so it doesn't matter.
Cardinals will come alive in a couple months. There you go.
A trade I would like the Cardinals to actually make.
So he doesn't want to trade anybody, obviously.
Yeah, you're nuts.
He says they always do. And that's the thing. Maybe they do, Josh. They're in a division that's not that.
Josh,
they are 13 games under 500.
Maybe that goes to our next thing here, the biggest surprise. The Cardinals are one of our biggest surprises. They are being pathetic in that regard right there, right?
Oh, yeah. They're probably my fourth biggest surprise.
You're fourth? I love it.
I got a list, man. I'm prepared.
The list.
I mean, you got Tampa Bay being the way they were to start the season. That's a huge surprise.
Yep.
The Mets being as bad as they are, the Padres being as bad as they are with all the money those two franchises spent, the Cardinals being as bad as they are because nobody in our lifetime's ever seen it. And the 70s teams were bad, but they weren't this bad. And the Rangers being as good as I predicted, surprisingly, and the Arizona being phenomenal. So, yeah, I got surprises all over the place, buddy.
What do you got for I like to call there at the Cardinals because they're the one that to me jumps out. They're always usually right there in the start of it. Ryan, you got a couple other ones to add on to that?
Yeah, I want to stay in the Central for one team, and that is the Cincinnati Reds, and that is just kind of how bad they started. And then, on my podcast, NL Central Whip Around, one of my buddies, Ben, he's a huge Reds fan, and, we kind of just talk all the time. And for the majority of the episodes we did, he was always the one that was like, oh, I don't want to do this. But the recent episodes, me and my buddy Adam, who's a diehard Cardinals fan, we're the ones that are like, we don't want to do this. He's been so happy lately. And, calling up Ellie De La Cruz, which believe that man got a cycle not even 2 weeks in playing in the major leagues. And another thing that he did was he hit 2 triples already in Great American Small Park. I haven't seen that done in a while. I mean, just hitting a triple in that ballpark is pretty impressive. So I got the Reds being one of the hot teams, Miami being another hot team. Well, these are just teams that you don't expect to be up there, and, they could fall off. But they're just teams that, like Josh says, I don't expect them to keep staying this hot. But the Reds, I do expect them to at least challenge for the division because that's just how good they are. And, I mean, they brought Joey Votto up, and who knew what he would do, and then he's just smashing the ball for them already. So, I mean, that's another thing that the Reds have going. And then lastly, Arizona. I mean, you already talked about it. Corbin Carroll, I mean, Ketel Marte, Christian Walker. They've all just been so good. And, I mean, this is a division that Arizona should, quite frankly, not be in front of. But I mean, they just started. And then I want to agree with Josh on talking about the Padres, because that's a team that has Machado, Soto, Tatis, and they're just not good. And I mean, maybe they'll find it in the second half, but I mean, the Cubs took 2 out of 3 from them. They're just not a good ball club, and that's just, hopefully they get better in the second half. Hopefully they do make some trades, but I don't know if they'll be buyers or sellers. But you go into a season with that much payroll and you cannot delight your fans. That's the situation.
That's a good call there. The Padres definitely belong on that list, man. They just cannot get it together. They're having like multiple player only meetings, and they got coaches. You got fighting again in this year on the season. Even with Tatis coming back and playing well when he starts, they can't get it together. Logan here real quick. Max Scherzer to the Orioles. There is some rumblings of stuff like that starting to come. We'll see if the Mets do end up unloading him in that way. Josh, you mentioned the Rays. They continue to stay hot as one of the best teams in the league, in the American League. They stayed steady the whole way. Haven't really lost, and maybe a little ground there, but that's expected with the way they played. I got to throw the Marlins in there as well, the way they've been playing too, and then of course the Giants. Get it. You would think they would be ahead in the NL West, but like you said, the Diamondbacks are even more surprising. So those are a couple ones that kind of stand out. And then, Josh, we talked about them last week. You brought it up, and they were like maybe a game under 500. You're like, yeah, they're disappointing. I was like, well, they're like a game under 500. And it's the Mariners. They had a worse week. So now they're like 4 or 5 games under 500. So good call on that one. They continue to be kind of a disappointment and kind of a surprise. A lot of people had them kind of possibly winning the division this year. In that regard. All right. You guys got any last thoughts before I get to the question of the week here? Any biggest surprises, Ryan? Anything else you want to get to on that part?
I wanted to tell Josh something, because he's coming from a Cubs fan, and I've been telling my family and friends this for the longest time, and they just, my dad's the only one that's like, yeah, I can see it happening, but everyone else is just like, you're foolish. And my whole entire lifetime, I've lived to see the Cardinals have miraculous second half comebacks. And I think that they're going to pull one out their ass. I don't know how it's going to happen, but they're going to do something special in the second half. And a lot of Cardinal fans don't even believe me, but I've seen it too much. I understand their pitching is just god awful, but something is going to happen in the second half. And this team's going to get on some type of run, not 17 straight wins, but they're going to get some type of run. And I'm going to be sitting there as a Cubs fan. I'm just going to say, I told you so. It doesn't mean they're finishing last place. Doesn't mean they'll make the playoffs, but I think that they'll finish they'll be decent in the second half.
They would need 2 big runs and like at least 12 games each.
It's asking a lot.
They would need that. That's what they would need to be competitive.
I mean, you're right though, Ryan, about the Cardinals in that regard. They definitely have. They always make a run. So we'll see. And this again, the division's winnable. I mean, you guys are 5 games under 500. We talked about you guys being in 3rd place, I believe, right now, like in the division, right? So that's how kind of weak your guys' division is right now at the moment in that regard. So there's a lot of surprises right here in Major League Baseball. Currently, I'd say the Rangers, obviously, through them, they're winning the AL West, and obviously 4 starters. Question of the week here presented by Row One Brand. Use that code VSP15. You'll get 15% off anything in the art gallery. Maybe a Cubs-Cardinals rivalry picture there. Maybe they got great ticket stubs you can look for out there. I always do history stuff on the Fat Boy Fadeaway. We always do a little 7th inning with that. And obviously for the question of the week here I thought this would be a good one for you, Josh, a Cardinals guy, you a Cubs guy. Do you believe this is the best rivalry in Major League Baseball? As fans of these teams, do you believe it does belong as the best? Ryan, you're our guest. We'll let you go first here.
Oh man, I grew up and I got to see it and everything from both sides. I've been to Wrigley Field, which shocker, I'm 4-0 in 4 straight games I've been to Wrigley, so maybe I should go some more. But I hate to break whoever asked that question, but I still think the Red Sox and Yankees take the cake. I mean, the Cubs and Cardinals is definitely historical. It's a big thing, but I went to one game at Fenway, and it was against the Yankees, and it's just an atmosphere I've never seen in my life. I mean, there's people fighting in the bleachers, which yes, you see in Cubs and Cardinals, but I mean, I think that one is just more gruesome than anything. I mean, there's a lot of mean Cardinals, a lot of mean Cubs, a lot of mean Yankees and Red Sox fans out there, but I really just think the Yankees and Red Sox just hate each other. There's some at least friendly Cubs and Cardinal fans, but I mean, Yankees and Red Sox, you don't hear of a single one that's like, oh, I like the Yankees, oh, I like the Red Sox. But yes, I hate Cardinals, but their fans are nice. Like, I can't say I hate Cardinal fans because they're actually nice. Now, I feel like Red Sox fans can't say that about Yankees fans.
So just so I'm clear, you have Red Sox, Yankees as the number one rival. You have Cardinals, Cubs, number two. That's what it sounds like it there. Josh?
I can explain the difference between the Boston, New York fans and the St. Louis, Chicago fans. So let me do that at the end. I agree with you. That's the bigger rivalry. It's anybody thinks about baseball, they think traditional Yankees, Red Sox matchup. It just is what it is. Two of the biggest cities out east, two of the best sports cities out east. They're close in proximity, so they don't like each other just because they are competitive cities. That rivalry, I think, will always be the number one rivalry in baseball. I, too, would put Chicago, St. Louis, number two, maybe number three.
What makes their rivalry special, you feel like, though, Josh? Like, you've been around now. Like, what makes that, like, the Cubs-Cardinals one special? Like, is there, like, just, like, the aura of it, your family that kind of goes into it? Is there, like, I kind of always just remember, like, the images of, like, some fights and stuff and a few, the old uniforms. But, you're obviously a fan of those teams. What for you makes that?
So the rivalry, I mean, it goes back to the cities actually stealing things from each other. And
that's a good rivalry right there.
I mean, it goes back like pre-baseball. And
yeah.
I think it's the fact that they were the two big Midwest cities in the the industrial revolution.
Yeah.
When America was coming out of the Depression, they were two of the big cities in the Midwest that everybody traveled through. I mean, you go through St. Louis to get to the West back then.
Yeah.
So in Chicago, you're up there on the lakes and everything. I think a lot of it was economic. The people don't like each other because I don't think they like originally what each other's cities represented. That's a real deep read. But I mean, it's just, look at all the things that have happened between Chicago and St. Louis. One of the best trades that ever happened for us came from Chicago in 60.
Suter, right?
Huh?
Is it Suter?
I think he's talking about
Lou. Who was it?
Are you talking about Lou Brock?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Oh, good call there.
Yeah. I mean, that was something we stole from them, and there's been bad blood for years and years, and then I think what made the rivalry great and took it beyond being mean and rude, and I think this is the difference between the New York Boston and then the St. Louis Chicago rivalry, the home run race.
Cubs.
Because we saw McGuire and Sosa, who are from two different worlds, playing one of the best games in the world, both racing to get to this record and be the first one there. And they did it and had fun with each other. And they're absolute rivals. And they enjoyed every second of it. And I think that showed Cardinals and Cubs fans that we can talk all the smack in the world we want. We can be as mean and as cruel to each other as we want.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're all kind of here for the same thing, something we all love. And these rivalries make the game better. I think we in the Midwest, we understand that. I don't think people on the coast can get past frontal cortex deficiencies.
Josh,
are you talking about my face, Josh? Ryan, what do you, a lot to unpack there at that point. What do you add onto that from a Cubs side? The rival, do you think of the Cardinals as like kind of that team that you want to beat the most, like in that regard? Is there like to me, it's easily the Giants Dodgers number two, but I understand how you guys can put them ahead of them. But like that's to me that's definitely number two. But I understand what do you see it though from a Cubs perspective and just that rivalry for Major League Baseball?
So I'll come up with two perspectives. The first one is a family perspective. I am the only Cubs fan in my family, so when we play the Cardinals, it's a big thing for me. I really want to be with my family. I want to beat them and stuff like that. And then for just kind of how it is, I kind of agree with Josh, but another thing I want to say is the fact that the Cubs sucked for so long. I feel like it just wasn't a rivalry back like for a while back because they sucked so bad. It's like every time they would come in, it's like, oh, the Cubs suck. But one thing that made it a rivalry more than anything was that you even see it this year. The Cardinals suck. The Cubs, they're not good either. But in 5 games, the Cardinals have won 3 and the Cubs have won 2. It's always close when they play each other. It doesn't matter how bad or how good a team is. And that's something that, to me, I'll never understand because I went into the first series telling my dad, oh, we're going to sweep you guys. You guys suck. And we lose 2 out of 3. So, I mean, that's kind of how it is. You know, there's always fun baseball to be played. And by fun, I just mean it's always a close game. I mean, no matter what. And there's some times where, you know, the Cardinals and Cubs, they'll at least put an ass whooping on them. But the next day, it's going to be close. Like more times than not, it's never out of hand. The series are always close.
I saw they only played one. They've only played once in the playoffs. The Giants and Dodgers haven't played often in the playoffs. They played a couple of years ago in the playoffs as well. So I found that fascinating about both those rivals, like the Yankees and Red Sox. That's kind of what made it different. They've matched up so many times in the postseason, which kind of puts them ahead in that regard. So that's our question of the week there, VSP15. Use that code there, Row 1 Brand. Proud sponsors over here at Variety Sports Network. Gentlemen, we're kind of getting to the 45-minute mark here. Let's get to the 7th inning stretch here. My question for it is, bigger injury in the NL West that happened today? Kershaw for the Dodgers or Carroll for the D-backs? Now, you might think right away he's an all-star. The Dodgers can only lose so many pitchers, gentlemen, and they're already in 3rd place. So what do you think there, Ryan?
So I didn't see either of the injuries. Are they pretty bad or what are they?
Well, there's a chance they both can miss time. Carroll's I just had it up. I'm sorry. I just had it. I believe it was a shoulder. I believe what he left with, a right shoulder. I'll double check as you go there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Dodgers on this one. I think that Kershaw being out is definitely gonna hurt them more than anything, and you know that's a division that Arizona is just destroying them in. So I mean, with the Dodgers, I think 4 games or something. They're either 4 or 5 games back from Arizona, but that's a guy that they would like to have pitching for the. I think that he pitches like every 4 games or something, or every 4 days. So I mean, it's definitely gonna hurt him. You know, he's still gonna be there in the dugout for them, but they're not being able to have him in his starts is definitely going to hurt. And like you said already, the Dodgers really just that rotation has just really not been the best. So losing Kershaw is definitely going to hurt them because he's been one of the better pitchers. And you know, if you're a Dodgers fan, you can only hope that it's not a long-term injury. With the Diamondbacks, still got guys like Alec Thomas that can step up, and they got young guys too in the outfield as well. And yes, it's going to hurt them, but I really think that this just hurts pitcher more than hitter because the pitcher can actually get you a win. Yes, Corbin Carroll can get them wins with his bat and stuff, but he also still has a whole team that can help him win. As a pitcher, you're determined. You go out there, you step on the mound, you're like, okay, kind of whatever I do determines how this game's going to go.
Real quick, back to your guys' conversation. You got Kyle into it and say what you will about my birds, but I have faith. So we have a strong.
I'm proud of you, Kyle.
We have a strong.
I'm proud of you.
Hey, tell Kyle to go to bed.
I'm proud of
you
him.
tell him to go to bed. Yeah. And you're on. You can tell Kyle, you've been recommended. It's bedtime. I've been, as somebody that hosts the show, and we want people joining. Please stay on. That's bad. That's what we want. All right. So I thought that was funny there with it. Josh, what do you think, Kershaw or Carroll?
Well, I want to say I agree with Kershaw being the bigger blow, but we got to have some conversation here. So I'm going to say Carroll. And
he is an all-star starter. He is up for possibly MVP.
Yeah.
He's also a starter. He's not going to get MVP. He might be on the docket, but he ain't getting it. Probably. Not unless they win the World Series and he is the major player all the way through the playoffs. So I want to at least give some parameters there. But Corbin Carroll is the spark plug of the Arizona Diamondbacks. He is the power that makes the engine go. Yeah, they got some pitching and yeah, they got some good role players, but this is Corbin Carroll's team. I mean, without their leader, what are they going to do? Are they going to be able to keep their heads in the game? Are they going to be able to overcome adversity when it comes their way? I don't know. Corbin Carroll is that important. He is the foundation of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
I like it. That would be the argument, right? Because like I said,
that's the argument I come up with.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a good one right there because he's right up for it. I think it's a good point. I think the I think it will be interesting with Kershaw how much time he ends up missing. If Carroll, they said, I brought it up there. He did have surgery 2 years ago, so I'm guessing maybe it was definitely a precautionary injury as well while he's leaving. Josh, it's a good argument there. Might have to go with you on that one there with the D-backs there, but I think Kershaw. I find it fascinating with the Dodgers because they can only lose so much. We saw it last year. Like they can only lose so much at the end. All right, guys, here we'll get to the eighth inning here. My over/under. Give me over/under here, Ryan. Arise will hit over 390 this season. Over/under.
Wow. That would be really, really high. I mean, I guess especially for a guy of his stature who. And I don't want to say like this is just a little short thing because he's been hitting the ball and seeing the ball well. I want to say he finishes in the 380s. So I'm going to say I'm going to go over.
Josh, under or over 390?
He's going over, baby.
Oh, you gotta love that.
And that's the way I was hoping you were going to say under because I want the over. I want to see him do 400.
That would be really cool.
I'm rooting for history
right now. He's been over a few times this year. We'll see. I put it a little high there. All right, Ryan. 56.5. Ohtani's got 29. 56.5 home runs for Shohei.
You know what? He's been seeing the ball very well. I think he's just going to keep smashing the ball. And obviously, I think that would be a stat record for him? I'm not sure if he's gotten over 56.5, but I think this year he's going to do it. I think he's going to get over 56.5.
57 at least. Just an amazing thing if he gets over that, considering the other night, he went 2 home runs, 10 strikeouts. We're never going to see anything like him ever again. It's stupid. And for some people to say like, well, they're drafting guys like this. It's like, well, yeah, people are drafting Michael Jordan, trying to draft for Michael Jordan too. It just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So, Josh, what do you got? Over under 56.5?
62.
Right. Whoa. Ty Big Mac. That's what
I think it's going to work out. I don't know why. I just think it's going to be 62.
So he goes way over then 56.5, way over that mark right there. I talked about the AL Central a little bit and how bad it's been, Ryan. 81.5 will get it done this year. Right now, I think what is it, just so I don't sound like an idiot here, Minnesota 40-42, 2 games under 500 at this point, 82 games in the season. Will that be enough to get it done? Will 82 wins finish you over 500? Is that going to happen?
So if you get 81 wins, you're over 500?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it happen. That division is so bad. I mean, you could take out the AL Central. You could put in the NL Central on this too. I mean, that's just how bad both of them are. And I just don't know. It's so bad, man. I would say that 85 – you know what? I say 85. 81 would win it all for them. I really do. I mean, that's just how bad the division is.
So you think under 81 – so 81.5, you have it. You think under will win it?
I think the under would win it. I mean, that's just how bad the division.
That's great. Oh, and that would be so great if that happens. Josh, what do you think?
I kind of said it was going to be a 500 record was all you needed to win it. So I'd be under too.
All right.
Yeah.
That's pathetic. There it is. If that actually happens, that is pathetic.
It could be the same thing in the NL Central too.
Could you imagine some team gets in the playoffs like 75 wins? That
would be so bad. Hey, you think my guy Ruiz will get 80 stolen bases real quick? On the A's, he has 40 right now. Think he'll get 80?
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. You think he'll get 80, Josh? Yeah. All right. I like it. All right. 3 outs away here. So we're wrapping up. We're getting close to the end here. Quickly, what do you got here for like some favorite Cubs players, maybe some memories that jump out to you about being a fan, some moments? I'll give you a couple I got, maybe Josh as well here.
Thank you. The favorite Cubs players come to mind. Anthony Rizzo, he's like the heart and soul of the Cubs, the heart and soul of me. And when he got traded, I'll never forget when he got traded to the Yankees, I prematurely was outside and I definitely yelled at a big F-bomb and my neighbor was right next to me. And my dad was like, come on, man, you got to calm down and be better. I'm like, yeah, you don't understand. He just went to the Yankees. But I would say one really cool moment for me was when I was a kid, I was in the left field bleachers, and Soriano turned around and waved to me. So I thought that was definitely. I've always loved Alfonso Soriano, and I just thought he always brought so much to the Cubs. I really loved his batting stances, like he was squatching.
Oh,
It was just so cool to see.
That's a sick one.
A lot of people are like, oh, he could have been waving to someone else. I'm like, no, he was waving to me. I'm the one I was getting waved to. But that moment for sure was cool. And then one last moment I'll give. I think the Cubs won this game, not for sure. I was at the game. It was when Hendricks almost threw a no-hitter against them because he just turns out to be the next Sandy Koufax when he plays the Cardinals. But against anyone else, he can't seem to pitch a good game. But I think he was like in the 8th inning, and I think he like gave it up. And there was one game in Chicago where he finished against the Cardinals with like 85 total pitches in the whole game. So I mean, there's been a lot of really cool memories, and obviously there's been a lot of not so cool memories. But the last one before I give it to Josh is 2015 beating them in the playoffs. That was for sure one of my favorite all-time memories.
How many times have you been to Wrigley?
I've been to Wrigley 4 times.
4 times, okay.
At 4-0.
4-0, that's what it was, 4-0. Josh, you have any players or anything that stands out to you about the Cubs?
So I actually have a few favorite Cubs players. Mine are a lot older than you, or than yours. So mine goes back to Sosa, Mark Grace,
Ooh.
Moises Alou.
Oh, boy.
Oh yeah, Moises, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I even like Moises Alou when he was with Houston. So, I mean, those are kind of my favorite of the Cubs players. There's been other guys that I thought were okay. Like I like the Christopher Morel kid.
Yeah.
I don't know why I like him. I think he's going to turn out to be just fine. That Nico
Horner, he's my favorite player.
He's pretty good. He's fun to watch play too. So there's Cubs players I like.
Kerry Wood.
I don't root for him.
Thought you would like Kerry Wood.
Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor.
Yeah.
I mean those guys. Yeah, but they were also really good against us. So there's a respect that's not a like.
You don't want to like me to catch on that one.
My favorite Cubs moment of all time was the fan interference.
Oh, Steve Bartman. I knew he was going to go there. I knew.
Hey, you should have all your favorite memories
Alex
against my team.
Gonzalez there.
I'm going to take a shot.
Of course.
But no, my favorite memories are when anytime we play the Cubs and the Cardinals. Every one of those games needs to be nationally televised.
Yeah.
And I want my broadcasters calling the game in our area, and I want Chicago's broadcasters calling the game in their area, and then the rest of the country can have the national broadcast. Because I think that Chicago's fans and St. Louis fans deserve that much.
You guys do get on ESPN at least twice, at least 3 times a year on Sunday night. So let's not act like you guys aren't getting on.
ESPN sucks.
Yeah, okay, well, whatever. You're still getting Sunday night.
Put them on Fox. Give us Saturday night on Fox.
I kind of was like, all right, first thing that came to my mind, Marlins series, just the whole series, not just that moment, the whole thing is one of the all-time great series of all time. Sorry, Ryan, that probably wasn't for that fan base, but it really, for somebody out here in the Bay Area to have that game, that series, and then that Red Sox-Yankees series going on at the same time was pretty crazy. Glenn Allen Hill hit it about the farthest home run I've ever seen. That's what I think about. I also think about Soriano. I had him out there as well. Aramis Ramirez. I always think about the Pirates making a dumb trade, giving up him as well. So those are some Cubs moments I always think about them. And then the afternoon games, of course. For me, they would start at 11 o'clock out here. So those are always kind of fun. Like 11 o'clock a.m. Cubs on like a Wednesday, or usually like they have it on Tuesday and like kind of Thursdays or Fridays are kind of their day games. And I'd be like, oh, nice, 11 a.m. start. In summer, we can watch the game on WGN out here because we would get that even way out here in the Bay Area.
You guys get WGN?
Way out here in the Bay Area, that would be the channel we would get way back in the day.
Holy smokes.
So that's the stuff I kind of remember there. So that's a good one there. We're down to our final 2 here. Is anyone stopping the Braves, Ryan? They look just like nobody can stop them, right? It's like everywhere you turn, you're like, that guy is pretty good. That guy is pretty good. They're pitching. Yep, they're pretty good there too. Is anybody stopping this team?
I don't think so. The Braves are just so good. I mean, I'm trying to think of like just all the way back into the playoffs, and I think that I'm not gonna say it's an easy ride for the Braves, but I don't think a lot of teams are gonna be able to beat them in 5-7 game series. I mean, you think about it. Say they match up against the Reds, and the Reds aren't gonna be able to touch them. I mean, the Reds pitching is not as good as the Braves pitching, and then unless a Braves player goes seriously cold, I mean, there's just not gonna happen. They're just so good, and like Josh keeps saying, Sean Murphy's just one of the best catchers in baseball. I mean, they just seem to have it clicking on all cylinders. So unless they pull a moment where they just go cold, I don't really see this team losing for quite some time.
Josh?
I completely agree. I think the Braves are the cream of the crop in the NL. And even, I mean, they're arguably the best team in the MLB. So they're fantastic to watch. They're a lot of fun. I don't think anybody's going to go cold. I'd be more worried about an injury or two. I mean, they'll cool down a little bit, but I don't think anybody's going to go ice cold on that team. They are just in the groove.
Max Fried's been out for them for a while. That's kind of been injury. They haven't had him for a while this season. What do they sit at right now? 53-27.
Wait till he comes back.
Yeah, 6 ahead of the Marlins. That's a surprise one. They're 10 ahead of Philadelphia, 17.5 ahead of the Mets there. So that's always a fun one there. We talked about them briefly there with a surprise, but just between these two teams, what would you have to say, Ryan? Biggest surprise, or I have biggest story, but maybe we'll go biggest surprise, better story here. Reds or Rangers? Which one for you is because I mean the Rangers, like we said, it's just both those ones to me jump out from the first half so far. Those two teams.
I really like this question. I mean, kudos to you. I think it's the Reds. I think the Reds fans have had a very, very, very unfortunate time the last couple of seasons with just their team being so bad. And this is a year where they weren't expecting anything, and they've gotten the cherry on top. I mean, the Reds have just been so cool. They've been selling out ballparks. And to call up Ellie De La Cruz and to see what he's been able to do, like I mentioned already, he already has a cycle. I mean, he had so much spirit. Yeah, the Rangers are a great story. I mean, they've got four of the 9 starters in the All-Star game. I mean, they're a great story too, but to me, it's just the Reds. I mean, their team, their fans, they have all been there for them, and the Reds have just always sucked. And this year, I mean, you see it with Joey Votto coming up, and
that was awesome.
So
that was awesome, Joey Votto coming back.
That was cool. I mean, I've always liked Votto. I mean, as a Cubs fan, I can't hate the Reds. That's a team that I just was like, okay, like I'll cheer for them. Sure. I got a Johnny Bench shirt. I wear that. Funny story. I went to the Cardinals and Reds game 2, which started the Reds 12-game winning streak. I should get some.
Everybody wins. When you go to a game, it starts something good. That's the key. That's what we do. Can you go to an A's game? I need a 40-game win streak.
Yeah. Let me get out to Oakland real quick.
There's plenty of seats available. That's the one day. Josh, what do you got? Reds or Rangers there?
I mean, the Reds. I can't even think of an argument for the Rangers, like I did on the last one. So I have to go with the Reds. They weren't expected to do anything. They got all these young kids they've called up. They're all performing really, really well.
Fair enough.
I mean, they got the best chili dog in the MLB at their stadium. So, I mean,
it's pretty good.
Dude, I love Skyline.
I remember you brought that up. We talked about that for a few minutes or a few weeks ago. We got into food there a little bit.
Skyline is so good.
I haven't had it before. I have not been out there. So I'm going to take the Rangers on this one. I think the Reds are a surprise, but the Rangers still are 6 games better than them. And the Rangers, and then we talked about the Reds have been absolutely on fire. So I'm expecting a slight little step back in that regard from them. But for me, it's still the Rangers, even though the Reds are been hotter lately. Real quick here, just a couple little last news and notes here. Mookie Betts, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and Julio Rodriguez from the Mariners. Those are our 3 participants so far in the Home Run Derby. Like we said, I would also like to say I thought this was a funny one. Keith Hernandez from the Mets announcing said that he would give Ohtani his number for the Angels. I was like, I think anybody's going to give him that one. I think anybody's going to give him the number if you're smart. So that's for sure. I also want to thank our guy as we get kind of to the end here, our guy Kyle, for tuning in throughout the whole show. Appreciate you checking in. He has faith in the Cardinals. I've understood this about it. The force is strong with this one and that Cardinals pick. But Kyle, I appreciate you tuning in. on seventh inning stretch tonight, commenting in. It makes the show more fun. Logan, appreciate you coming in as well, even with your comments. I like this one. Josh looked pissed. He probably rewatching the Cards. That was a good one I enjoyed as well. Logan did bring up a good point. We didn't talk about it much today. The Phillies are playing better, though, people. They are, like we said, they are 10 games back, but maybe they'll make a late run in the wild card again. Ryan, thanks for joining us tonight on Seventh Inning Stretch, my friend. Again, where can we find you at, and where can we watch your podcast?
Yeah, so you can catch me and my buddies on NL Whip Around. It is on Spotify and basically wherever you can find your podcast. We do it live on Fridays, and then actually we do it remote on Fridays. We just kind of do it on the phone, and then we upload it on Friday evening. So you won't be able to watch it live, but you can just re-listen to it, and that's what I like to do. Go to bed, turn it on, or whatever you have, and you can catch all the baseball fix from the NL Central only. That's all we really cover because I have two buddies who one's a Red, one's a Cardinals fan, and I'm a Cubs fan. So I thought it just made all the sense in the world to just talk about NL Central. And one of the best things we do in our show is we talk about player of the week and moment of the week. And I think those are also really cool as well. So who knows, if you're a Cubs, Cardinals, Pirates, Brewers fan, or Reds fan, get out here and listen to our podcast. You'll really enjoy it.
Your Red friend is probably very happy right now at the moment. He's probably feeling good at those podcasts. Well, thanks for taking some time tonight to do it. Josh, any final words there for our friend here?
No, I appreciate you coming on, man. If you ever want to come back and talk ball, let us know.
I definitely.
We're doing that home run derby thing, right? Home run derby.
Yeah, how about you come on for the home run derby?
Yeah, we're doing a home run derby live thing for about 3 hours. So if you got 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever.
I do anything on Monday nights, except I usually watch Monday Night Raw, but I can let it go one night to talk to you guys.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you have to. Well, I'll give you an update for 5 minutes when you're on. I'll let you know. I'll give you the play-by-play when you're on with over there. I appreciate you taking the time this evening and joining us. I know it's late out there. Josh, obviously, I know you've been busy, obviously, my friend, with your life there, but it was a good episode tonight. We're going to do it again next Thursday as well. We got a few more weeks here before the All-Star break, people, so be sure you tune in to Seventh Inning Stretch. Appreciate anybody that commented again. Ryan, again, a big thank you, sir. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to join us tonight. Go Cubs. Cubs faith, just like I'll go anti there. I'll give you a little Cubs face there. So until next time on the Seventh Inning Stretch, peace.
See ya.